Welcome to Tim's Tips. I had a message from BJ Wigglesworth. He sent in, he said, Happy Thanksgiving, first of all, this past week. And I have a question. 50-foot tall tree with no significant lean. Notch was perfect. Back cut was way too high. It went down right where I wanted it, but I'm curious, with a back cut way too high, what could have happened? Well, BJ, I see the couple of pictures that you sent, pretty straight fiber on that particular tree. But one thing to consider with the level of the back cut, you know, a lot of people talk about stump shot, which would be making the back cut higher than the level of the notch. You would think to do that, and really it's in the standards if you're looking at a face notch of less than a 70-degree opening. And reason for that is butt rebound. As the tree would start to fall, the face notch closes, the hinge would give up, and more or less you had the chance of the tree coming back. But if we were to take a look here at this situation, as this tree, if it were straight, starts to fall, if it gets to a point of about 45 degrees and the face notch closes, the center weight starts to seek its attachment point. And so that means a butt rebound or a barber's chair could be increased, but it has a tendency to go on down. But if you do use 70 degrees or more, your back cut can remain even because that hinge would hold all the way until it gets to that position. And so when we start to look at this, if you have a tree with straight grain, you could go up and down just about anywhere there on your, the level, and you would have the hinge that you plan. Let's say we've got a 1.5 inch hinge thickness on this particular tree. Well, what would take place is that you would have that 1.5 inch from about right here to right here behind your notch. When you think about the fiber in the tree, though, up here even you've got some taper as the tree grows. And so the fiber that's running out in this face notch area, let's kind of illustrate here, it starts running out towards the root structure. This is really over exaggerating some. But even if you took a point from right here to right here on a straight growth tree, you're going to find that fiber inside and outside, because the tree was growing and adds a ring each year, between one height and the next height, the fiber is actually angled. And so think about this: if you come in here, you've got the 1.5 inches that you planned. But if you come up here and you start to look at the fiber and how it's running, you can end up taking your hinge that you plan halfway off. Now, if you're cutting that tree from the back and you've got forward lean, there's not a whole lot of issue there, because basically the tree's going to start to fall as you're cutting. The hinge starts to pull from the back to the front. But if you do have that stump shot there pretty high, what can happen, and this again probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but the weight of the tree starts to go down on that particular hinge material. It's vertical, right? So it starts to compress that fiber as the tree goes forward. And that can change your steering characteristics of the hinge. Also, let's say that you're 2 inches higher on this back cut. What can start to happen there is that as that tree goes, if you have side weight, substantial side lean, you can end up with it starting to set over on that side. And if you looked at your pictures there, you had a little bit thinner on one side than the other. If there was a heavy side weight, then more or less that could start to compress that fiber and you could lose some of your steering ability. So that's something to think about. When you've got a stump shot of 1.5 inches, 2 inches high, it can actually, as it starts to fall, sit over that far if you've got bad support material in the hinge. But if you're pretty close to the same level as your face notch, it only compresses the amount of that kerf. Instead of that fiber, splitting apart here, as it starts to fall. Let's see if I can kind of start to think about here's our notch and all, is that as it starts to fall, if I'm level to the notch, it starts to pull directly from the back of the hinge to shorter. If you're higher than that, it has to split apart here first so that the tree can start to go forward. So you end up with it starting to separate those fibers from the actual hinge and the stump. It can, in certain situations, with bad fibers, start to give you an issue there. But those are just some things that kind of technical in some case, but it can affect the side lean steering of the tree, and also how that hinge is going to break from the back to the front. It's going to split forward, can compress. So I think, my own opinion, and what we have taught for years, is to be as level as possible. You can have 1 to 2 inches there, probably not a big deal, but as level as possible will give you the hinge that you need. A lot of people ask about the hollows that you had in the picture, and hollow, as long as you have a hinge in good shape across the stump, you really don't have an issue with a hollow. It's just a little bit less to cut. So BJ, I hope that answers your question, kind of gives you something else to kind of consider there. But looks like you did a great job on the tree, and so appreciate your question. Keep them coming. Anybody else that has any questions about anything, if I can't answer it, I probably know somebody who can. So we'll try to get it listed up for you. So you have a great day, and appreciate you dropping by Tim's Tips, and good sawing to you.